season. And, of course, John Reese for Wilkes College. The first match will have Brian Bauer, a junior from Somerville, New Jersey, opposing sophomore Ed Regan of Fullerton, California. And it's our pleasure to bring you the voice of Lehigh University Wrestling for 19 consecutive seasons, Larry Sheridan. Larry?
Thank you, Shell. Good to be back. And I noticed that the Lehigh wrestling team is sporting a new, shiny, nylon-type uniform. Looks quite nice. An arm drag put in there by Bauer. No takedown. They go over the line. Referee, we said, Freddie Richardson. There you see the coaches. Assistant coach Andre Miller, along with head coach John Reese. Regan in on the single, but countered by Bauer. Bauer, a junior from nearby Somerville, New Jersey. Place where he used to dine a lot at the Somerville Inn, which last time I went by is no longer there. And there's the takedown for Bauer, leads 2-0, gives Wilkes a start. Wilkes College in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. About an hour and 20-minute run north of Bethlehem. How well I know it. I have a daughter, a freshman at Wilkes, and I have a daughter, a junior at Lehigh. I hope later on, Shell, we can get these two if they're seated together. See who they're going to be rooting for.
1 minute and 55 seconds to go in the first period. We would like to remind you of a major new rule this year in college wrestling. There are no more superior decisions, no more 5-point superior decisions. If you defeat your opponent by anywhere between 8 and 14 points, you get a major decision worth 14 points. A technical fall, which is 15 or more, earns you 5 team points. And, of course, a fall earns you 6. So that is a significant change in the scoring this season.
Regan, of course, not been able to get off the bout from underneath. Bauer's doing a nice job riding him his legs. Picked up over a minute time advantage. We've got 1:15 left in the first period. And Brian Bauer of Wilkes is ahead of Lehigh's Ed Regan by a score 2-0. Picking up near fall points with a tilt.
No, he's out of it. He's out of it. You only got 2 earned.
2-point near fall.
2. Only 2 earned. 1, 2.
Nice trap. There's a 3-point near fall. That puts a 5-zip lead. And as I said, they've got the strength in the lightweights.
Got 3.
Coming up next, you got Dennis Mejias going against freshman Noah Clavel. So here we are, Regan of Lehigh down 5-0.
Let's take a look, Larry, at the first takedown. I think we'll see it perhaps at the end of the period with 39 seconds to go. It's a 5-0 lead for Brian Bauer from Somerville, New Jersey. He has had 2 tournament matches.
Well, he feels confident on that situation. He puts on a single leg, rides it nicely, and then works off the wrist and pulls the tilt, and he pulled that 5-point near fall. A 3-point near fall. You need 5 continuous seconds to gain a 3-point near fall. Anything less than that is only awarded 2 points. And you heard the referee, he counted, got to 5. That meant he earned it, and here we're back in that same situation. But I feel with 6 seconds remaining, nothing's going to happen.
5-0 lead, 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go. The period concludes, and it's a 5-0 lead for Brian Bauer over Ed Regan.
Choice, top, bottom, or neutral. Top takes top. Defer, top. Second period.
Good head and back.
Second period. Larry, we're joined in the booth by Marvin Walenzik, attorney from Norristown, Pennsylvania, one of the great wrestling recruiters of our time. Unfortunately, he doesn't recruit for Lehigh this season. He's been recruiting for Brown University, and he's had a fair amount of success. Marvin, it's a pleasure to have you with us again. He was with us in the EIWA tournament. Glad to see you back.
Pleasure to be with 2 avid golfers like you and Larry.
Yeah, I certainly want to appreciate you guys playing golf this summer. I enjoyed that match tremendously. We spent more time on the phone canceling than we would have played, I could tell you that.
We're going to get you down to Squires next summer.
Okay. And we'll forget Shell because he's the guy that kept canceling. 1 minute and 22 seconds remaining in the second period, and over 3 minutes time advantage for Brian Bauer, a junior, representing Wilkes College. Doing a very good job of riding and containing Lehigh's Ed Regan. And not much action going on, and Fred Richardson, the referee, may do something about the leg ride.
Both wrestlers, gentlemen, both wrestlers.
Okay, he's talking.
I have to tell you, Larry, an example of how Marvin doesn't give up at the Brown-Lehigh this year game. He disappeared outside the gate as we were coming in, and I saw him talking for a significant length of time with a young gentleman outside for at least 15 or 20 minutes. And I had to inform him that the gentleman's name was Queenan, and he had already been recruited by Lehigh. Except that Marvin knows of that young man's basketball prowess from his days in Norristown.
Sure, certainly did a job against Penn, the Lehigh basketball team. 35 seconds left, and Regan trying to slide out, but the control still rests with the Wilkes Colonel's Brian Bauer. Regan trying to come out the back. 25 seconds, but he's got an overhead bar, and that's containing Regan for the moment. Just a good, masterful set of legs, but he can't hang on, and the score is now 5-2, but he has over 4 minutes riding time as the second period is about to conclude. Score will be 5-2 on the board, and still 2 minutes left.
5-2 lead for Regan, or check that for Brian Bauer.
Top, bottom, or neutral? Neutral?
And as Larry mentioned, Regan will have to really essentially at this point trails by 4 points if the riding time is put in.
He elected to take the neutral position, goes in on a double leg dive, but slowed down going in, allowed the time for Bauer to react with an overhook, and this will end up a stalemate if nothing comes out. Now he's got the arm out. Now, scored now 5-4.
Minute and 40 to go, but now Regan will have to perhaps even let him up, Larry, because...
He has to, because he's got a guaranteed point for time advantage. They could stay there with a minute and a half to go, and if he doesn't score any more points, Bauer, as a result of that
bad motions to let him up, and he does with 1:20 to go. Now Regan will, even if he takes him down, he'll have to do it one more time, because that riding time is going to be significant, and it's been assured to Bauer.
Regan's in on the double, but has to follow it up and cover to get the takedown. No takedown yet. Picks up the leg and tries. Bauer gamely fighting. Pulls out the head on that single leg. Bauer's trying to slip in what is called a double wrist lock. Regan, all he has to do is pop the head, and the control rests with him. He does.
However, now it's 6-6. Now Regan's going to have to let him up, but he can't seem to get the attention. Now Regan lets him up to make it 7-6. He's got 30 seconds to try to get the takedown if he can come around.
But he goes in on a single, and he can hold that for almost 25 seconds. But Regan now blocks out of that. And with 19 seconds to go, scores 7-6. Regan spins around, gets the takedown.
The 2-point takedown, a remarkable comeback
to hang on
by Ed Regan, who was losing 5-0, but he doesn't get out, and with 4 seconds to go, the escape will give the victory to the Wilkes College wrestler.
Yep, Regan was content and slowed down for a minute, but the escape comes to Bauer with 6 seconds to go and gets the time advantage.
It'll be 10-8.
Picks up a 9-8.
Well, let's see, it was 9-8 on the board, I believe.
It was 8-8.
8-8, so it will be 9-8. A great finish. Brian Bauer.
Hustle was the name of that one.
Came back, but it was a great comeback by Ed Regan of Lehigh, who trailed at 1.5 to nothing, and came back to tie it at 8-8, and then got victimized by an escape with 4 seconds to go. And the riding time did, in fact, prove significant. It was enough to give Brian